Hello, welcome to my channel, or welcome back. My name is Leigh Marie, and here I do things all D&D. So today I am working in Dungeondraft. Dungeondraft is an amazing, user-friendly, intuitive map-making program. I believe it's about $15, $20, or $25. The license is in perpetuity or forever, which is really, really nice as opposed to some other programs. You can also, if you are artistically inclined and want to figure out the process on making the like the templates, the stamps, the stuff that you like, that's obviously one of the base. That's a rug, for example, that I'm putting down right there. Then I'm looking at a bunch of beds. I do have what are called asset packs. The asset packs you can sometimes purchase, usually pretty affordably, online. You can also get some that are free. Right now, all the asset packs I actually have are free because I wasn't 100% sure if this was going to be the map making program for me or not. It is assuredly the map making program for me. I might even make some asset packs in the future. Who knows? What I like about it is, as I said, extremely user friendly. I didn't start out really terribly all that great. It is definitely kind of a learning curve on what you can do, and you find all the buttons to figure out what assets kind of work well, and also what assets you can kind of like make work for your project. Like for example, here with these stairs, I had to basically try to simulate, hey, this is going down. So I put some shadow at the bottom there. Not probably the best way to explain, hey, this is going down. But frankly, it worked. And as long as you tell your players, hey, this is what's going on, they don't generally care. This one that I'm doing obviously is dark and spooky. We were in Ravenloft. I can remember. I should have probably looked up this earlier. We were in the Mists, Chisel Pete's. We were actually in Borca, so not Ravenloft. I'm slow. But we were in Borca with the Boritsis, the Delcinias. Basically, this is my own take on the Boritsi estate. This is the second floor. What I did here was actually I had a clue campaign basically going on. One of my players does have a baby in game. I mean, he has a baby and a baby on the way out of game, but in game he has a baby. That baby was kidnapped, David Bowie a la Labyrinth style, and he had to essentially come here. He was swept up by the mists with all of his companions. The companions are called the Deep Six. They started as a 6-hero adventuring group. They think it's funny that it's also 6, which is like, I guess, the standard size of, a dude's, you know. But anyway, the majority of my players are male. It's just me and one other girl. But anyway, so they're the Deep Six. The character, as I said, was on a quest to save his baby. Essentially, he had to come to the mist. Well, the mist took him. And they stumbled upon basically kind of a murder mystery. The Boritsis, Ivanka Boritsi was having a... Is it Ivanka? Ivana. I should have looked up things before I started doing this, but here we go. Miss Boritsi, the co-ruler of the Borca lands, she was throwing a soiree, so the group had to get in fashion, so to speak. Unfortunately, somebody was murdered, and as the person was murdered, basically they all blamed it on Crod, who is the character that is the focus and has the baby in our campaign. Urag is his baby. He and his partner, question mark, did travel here with the group, and they had to essentially go through and investigate this house as it is riddled with clues. So what I've enjoyed about this program is that I can make it as detailed or as simplistic as I want. As you've probably seen, I have actually what I started doing was, instead of just using the base token or asset, whatever you want to call it, I've actually started layering things. So you'll probably have seen a couple pillows I've added to some chairs or the beds. I do that. I've learned it kind of just gives it a little bit more shape and something fuller for the characters to interact with, especially when you're using a map. One of the things that early on I figured out with maps is that if they're not terribly detailed, the group is pretty much going to only interact with what's there. So the more detailed you can make it, even with small things like adding a bunch of candles, adding, as you can see here, with the dragons and the artifacts, these become things that they're going to start interacting with. They might even look at that world map or the world globe and decide, where are we? What's going on? Because, they're in the mists. So with the mists, they're trying to figure out where they are, especially because the people in the midst who inhabit this area are like, all is Borka. Borka is all. Nothing else exists. What are you talking about? And so I tried to put in as much. I tried to play around with all of the available assets in the game, or in the game. Wow, in the the base program here. That has come to some interesting results. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. For here, Ivana Boritsi, and I did figure it out as I've been talking, Ivana, she is very in tune with her garden. She's also very in tune with poisons. She's also very strong, very kind of angry. And so what I did in here was I started putting, like, what would be her home? What would it look like? Well, obviously she's into plants and poisons, so she's gonna have plants and thorns and poisons and all that stuff just everywhere. And that's why I've got the vines on the bed. I've got the pots with the potted plants. I've got the non-potted plants, the thorns. I'll start doing a lot more of that. I like the dynamic lighting, as you can see me fiddling with that right now. And so I use a lot of the dynamic, gotta have the toilet. And so I use a lot of the dynamic lighting just to give the map a bit more fullness. One of the best things that I've found with Dungeondraft is I do draw. From my original video, obviously you saw me create a Goliath Barbarian character. But if you don't draw, this basically it allows you to still have that same customization, that same freedom, almost as if you are an artist yourself. So you don't need the artistic skills to essentially get into Dungeondraft. One of the big things I liked about it, again, was that artists can upload asset packs, and I will probably try to do that in the future, just because there are some things that I kind of wish I had in some of these maps that maybe had some less limitation. But for now, I think I'm making a pretty awesome map. Another toilet going in. Obviously, as you can see, some of the assets look different than some of so for example, that tub, a lot more high res than the toilet that was put down. The toilet is in the base pack, and the tub is actually in a free asset pack that I did stumble upon through the YouTubes. I can try to link them if I can find them, but we'll get there when I finally go to actually upload this video. But it has been a fun journey figuring out Dungeondraft. I'm definitely going to make more of these, hopefully to help other people. I noticed when I started doing this, actually even to this very day, I keep looking for other Dungeondraft speed builds. I think it helps everybody as map creators, whether you're artistic or not, just to see what other people are doing, what other asset packs that they're using, what they're kind of forming. I know whenever I'm going to build a map, I always go to Google or to YouTube and try to see if anybody's already done it ahead of time. And it's not that I necessarily, well, first of all, it's D&D, so you can steal anything basically from anybody, because we're all really like, here, use this, here, use that, because we all want everybody to be, a part of our favorite hobby. But what I like about it is it's inspiration. It kind of serves as, when you're an artist, you can go to Pinterest, you can go to Google, you can look up pose references. So using the speed builds actually helps me as well to come up with ideas. And same thing with like video games like Animal Crossing or Disney Dreamlight Valley. Like, you want to look at other people's builds to get some inspiration. Same thing with map making. So I definitely saw a void, and that's why I am gonna upload some maps. I'm a slow drawer, artister, anyway. And so drawing or doing the maps takes a little bit less time, obviously, because you don't need to be artistically inclined. You just need to have a good imagination and set your stage. So for some of these rooms, the stages that I have created here, the front left room is inhabited by a couple. The couple actually become, well, the woman of the couple becomes the "oh, I actually did it" person. And so I decided to design their room with some of those clues in mind. See, there I go, adding another pillow to the bed just to give it a bit more oomph. I like that word better, oomph. In this room, we'll talk about this room because I really like this one. So this room is actually inhabited by werewolves. It's kind of a red herring. I think it's a red herring, because at one point in the campaign, everybody was like, it has to be the people who are inhabiting this room. They have to be the one who killed. There's blood on the floor. There's blood on the mirror. But however, when they continue to investigate the room, eventually I'll put in a desk with some notes. They'll actually be talking about werewolf curses and how to break them, or some of that kind of. So it kind of, each room has a very specific setting and stage that I'm doing. I also put the wolf rug down there as well. Actually, as a somewhat of a mockery, I thought that Ivana Boritsi she's very smart and she wants everybody to know it, and she definitely wields that as power. So for her to put a wolf rug in the room inhabited by werewolves, because this is her house, they are guests, is her saying, I know what you are, without necessarily overtly telling them that she does. So that way they're kind of left to guess. Um, and so little tidbits like that really help make a map feel complete and fuller. And it's also another way for your players to engage with the world that they're in. So the fact that they figure out eventually that that room is actually used by werewolves, that gives them a little bit of an insight into who Ivana Boritsi is as a character, and if she is a BBEG, if she is an ally or a temporary ally. In this, she actually was a temporary ally. Her cousin, Ivan Dicilia, I can pronounce words. He was actually the big bad of this section, and they did eventually go on to eradicate him. Though, because the mists are interesting, whether he's actually permanently eradicated or not remains to be seen, but that's not their problem anymore. This campaign has been running for 4 years. It's about to end. They're going to war. Demons have infiltrated Luskin. Camiriel has gone to the bad side. Jarlaxle is very angry. But enough about that. So thanks for watching me build this map with me. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I certainly will have more for you. I try to post weekly.